Hi everyone and welcome to my review of Sergio Leone's For a Few Dollars More. And it's the second in the Dollars trilogy, and it's the second Leone film that I'm going to be reviewing on this channel, as part of this director series that I'm doing of the 6 films. Now, A Fistful of Dollars, of course, I gave a 98% on my review, a near masterpiece for me, and the first time I saw it, I was wowed by it, and I looked online and I thought, trying to see, how people would rank the trilogy, the Dollars trilogy, and most people kind of said that this is the worst, and the most forgettable, and it wasn't as good as Fistful of Dollars. It is a lot higher on the IMDb, top 250 films. It's around number 105 at the moment. But yeah, no. So I didn't go in thinking it's going to be much better straight away. I had some high hopes for it, but I didn't quite think it'd be, as good. But I was wrong. For me, it's much better. It just improves on A Fistful of Dollars in every single way. It's just absolutely stunning film. Every single element was better here, and Leone just, throughout this trilogy, here's a spoiler, they get better and better each time, consistently, and significantly each time they would get better. The good, the bad, and the ugly, of course, it's miles better than this even. I'll review that next, but this I think was a lot better than A Fistful of Dollars. Clint Eastwood once again returns, and it gives an even better performance. I absolutely loved him in A Fistful of Dollars, but here he's even better, and he's more likeable, more charming. And another thing that helps massively is his relationship with the other main character, played by Leone Cleef, Mortimer. And basically they're these two bounty hunters. And you see them introduced at first. A great introduction to the characters as well. Just far better cinematic storytelling from Leone. Just the way they're introduced. We start off actually focusing on Mortimer really, and then we see Eastwood, who plays Manco in this film. I think he's referred to, but it's still the man with no name. The way they're introduced is stunning, and they team up eventually to kind of take down the main villain, and his gang, because they are bounty hunters, and but they find out some things are getting plotted, and in the centerpiece of the film, really, there's this kind of bank heist, which is absolutely stunning. But you've also got some other things that you kind of melded in there, and set up in these flashbacks for Mortimer, that kind of establishes his motivations mysteriously, and then right at the end, it's kind of revealed what actually happened in these flashbacks, and why he has this kind of agenda. And the main villain, once again, the same actor, Jean-Marie Volontè. And he returns. He plays a different character, of course. He plays Indio in this film, another villain. And I actually think he's even better as well in this film. His performance, and just the way that it's actually fleshed out more, and he's got this kind of there's this kind of thing going on between him and Mortimer, this past, which obviously I'm not going to spoil, but it's revealed eventually, and it's gradually built up. Which is brilliant use of flashbacks, absolutely stunning. It adds this emotional resonance as well with his character. And Leone Cleef, you could argue he's even better than Eastwood is in this film. It's just the presence, and just his acting in this film is stunning. The way he plays his character is perfection, really, for what it's trying to be. And there's this bond that they form, him and Eastwood's character, that just drives the film, adds that warmth, that charm, and you've got these two characters teaming up. against these these kind of gang members and that, and yeah, the way it all unfolds as well. How they kind of play into to the gang, and kind of find their way in there, and try and pretend that they're on their side, kind of thing. How that all plays out is absolutely stunning. You've got this dramatic irony that runs throughout most of the film, and the way that culminates is perfect, really. So the music in this film, once again, Ennio Morricone scores the film, and A Fistful of Dollars. It was one of my, as I said before, one of my favourite film scores. Pretty much all the Leone films are, but this one is once again even better than A Fistful of Dollars. And some of the standout tracks, Visio Ducidere, and the Reza de Conte, they're the ones that come to mind. They're absolutely stunning, and the way they're used, absolute perfection. They just give you these epic chills, but the way they're used, and at the timing of the way the music is used in this film, absolutely masterful. Even, as I say, even better than A Fistful of Dollars. The music itself and the use of music, the timing, and the way it creates this mood. There's some of these, haunting pieces of music used, and, the watch chimes bits, and the flashbacks, and then the way that ties into the final duel. It's masterful, really is. The score couldn't really be any better. But Ennio Morricone, one of my absolute favourite composers, and absolutely stunning here. And the way that Leone uses the music throughout the entire film, there's not a foot wrong. He doesn't put a foot wrong. Absolute perfection. Just always used at the right moments. Never overplayed. Never underused. It's just perfect. And just an epic, beautiful score once again, and haunting as well when it needs to be. And another reason why this film I think is a lot better as well is the characters. Some of the supporting cast. You've got Mario Brega, who returns. He's in quite a lot of the films. You've got Klaus Kinski as well. Absolutely, he was a great actor, of course, and he's really memorable here as well. And the scene with him and Lee Van Cleef, when he's eating early on, and then in fact the last scene with them in it is really great as well. And they're just, it's a better cast overall. And as I say, Lee Van Cleef is much more fleshed out side character than some of the ones in A Fistful of Dollars. And you've got the villain as well. It's absolutely stunning. And it's just a much better script as well, which was already a really good script, I thought. But here, the way the characters are written and the way they're established, and really, it's kind of flawless. The humour as well that's kind of used between Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef when they're shooting the hats and stuff like that. Some standout scenes, perfect to establish different character things as well, but just adding humour. And that scene as well, there's no dialogue. Once again, Leone knowing how to use, just visual storytelling to kind of say things about the characters, and kind of just to entertain, just through some simple stuff, simple scenes. It's just wonderful. And yeah, that humour works even better than it did in A Fistful of Dollars, and it just never ever affects the tone of the film. There's one scene maybe where there's this laughing scene. They're all laughing, Lee Van Cleef and Eastwood near the end. Maybe that goes on. Yeah, I could see how some people wouldn't take to that and maybe say it goes on for a bit too long, the laughing, but straight after as well, I really liked it actually. I don't really see much problem with that, and it was quite a funny scene. But yeah, no, I suppose some of it isn't really. Yeah, I suppose I could see how some people wouldn't, love all the humour, but I did, personally, and I thought it added that to the film. Just made it more entertaining, and the direction in this film. I didn't have any flaws with direction in A Fistful of Dollars, and it's only better here. And the way this film is shot is absolutely flawless. Just again, the close-ups juxtaposed with the wide shots, used to even greater effect here. And you've got more of these action scenes as well, and horse chases and stuff. And the way they are shot is absolutely stunning, flawless once again. And the way the music is used in them scenes couldn't really be any better. That centerpiece heist is absolutely stunning. The way that the tension's built, how it sustains, sustains the interest, and it builds that tension and then delivers. It's absolutely stunning. The editing in this film even better than it was in A Fistful. Absolute perfection. The editing. And the pace of the film as well. It's a longer film, but it's a quicker pace for me. It's just, as well, you've got more character moments mixed in with action scenes and duels, and the duels are even better here as well. The final duels of this film, absolute perfection, and would be bettered again a couple of times for me with Leone in his films, but here it's absolute perfection. That final duel with the three characters, kind of like a kind of practice, you could say, for the good, the bad. But it's not. It's in its own. It's absolutely stunning. But it's kind of a little bit similar to the final duel with the three characters in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Just a smaller scale scene, and well, not as good, but it's absolute perfection, really. And as I said, and the way that there's a moment where you see, the whole flashback really is revealed around that final duel at the right time, the perfect time, to give that weight and that the motivations, to that duel and to all them characters of relationships between them. It's absolute perfection, really, the way the storytelling's handled there, and the fact that it's built up before that as well, build the mystery of the flashbacks, and Mortimer's past, and the way it's finally revealed at that moment, and then mixed in just perfectly with that duel, stunning. The final shots as well, stuff of legends, really. I think this is Leone's first flawless film, for me, really, and the first time I saw it, I was blown away, and I just, I had even greater expectations for the good, the bad, and they delivered. Well, they exceeded, and I'll be reviewing that next for the Leone films. And just there's better acting in this film. There's better everything in this film. And the fact that you've got more fleshed out characters, motivations, you've got a better supporting cast overall. There's not really any distracting dubbing, really, as much as there was in the Fistful of Dollars as well. I had some issues with that. Not that I have anything against dubbing in general. It's just in A Fistful of Dollars there was a couple of bits where it was distracting, and it had been one case dubbed horrendously with the kid, but in here, in this film, it's nowhere near that, and it doesn't detract from the film experience at all. And just really for me, it's just a kind of a flawless film with an absolutely stunning soundtrack. One of the best again in film for me. The score of this film by Ennio Morricone, and direction, the editing, just the way this film looks, it's absolutely stunning. And the sunsets and everything, wonderful. Every act builds perfectly, and never falls short of flawless, really. And then emotional payoffs at the end are stunning. So overall, I think this film is an absolute masterpiece. And everything just comes together perfectly, really, for me. And the acting, the characters, the way they're written and introduced. The villain, Indio, absolutely brilliant. Levan Cleef and Eastwood are an absolute top of their game. It just there's much more of an emotional resonance with this film for me, as I've said, and just the way that it all comes together, and every department of the filmmaking is really flawless for me, and all the set pieces and everything, the way it just finally builds to that final duel. There's just a moment in that duel that where the camera just slowly zooms to Eastwood, and it just gave me shivers. These little small touches within these massive films are kind of one of the things that Leone does better than most people, for me, and would only get better, with The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. I absolutely love this film. It's among my favourites. It's not on the level of The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, but spoilers, most films aren't. But this is still an absolutely stunning film, a stunning western, and just everything comes together, as I say, perfectly. Such a memorable and enjoyable film, and absolutely masterfully directed film by Leone. 100% plus, tier 3. Sits among my favourite films. It's on my 500 favourite films list, which I work on at the moment continuously. But it's high. It's in the top 160. So that's extremely high. And of course, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is far higher than that as well. But I think this film deserves to be praised more than it is, actually. It's underrated for me, and it happens with some trilogies and stuff where there's some films that aren't praised enough because there's other ones within that trilogy or franchise which are better and in every way, but it's like some people just don't really talk about the ones that are still great. It's just because it's been bettered basically by The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Does not mean that it's a throwaway. It's an absolutely stunning film for me, and I look forward to reviewing The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. So thanks for watching my review, and check out my other reviews on my channel. Thanks.